How's it going, guys? And welcome to a new Q&A live stream. Which side do I start with? Today we're joined with Mod Ed.
Hello.
Mod Ash.
Hello.
Mod Kieran.
Hello.
And Mod West.
Hello.
Ooh. We've also got Mod Tom H grabbing questions from the chat, and Mod Wolf doing the sneak peek of the week around the halfway mark. So the set looks a little different. We just did a PvP championship live stream over the weekend. You might have seen it. Hence the branding and the TVs. And we very fortunately acquired a better looking setup out of doing it, so I think it's worth doing again. Right, first things first, I'd like to go through the PvP champ recap going forward, and then we'll get right into the questions. So, there's quite a bit to this. Essentially, the main question is, the PvP championship was kind of a gamble on our part, never doing anything like that before. We weren't sure what we would get out of it. We decided that we definitely enjoyed doing it. We want to do it again. That goes without saying. So the question is really, we're going to have a retro tomorrow. What are we going to change about it? Tomorrow we're going to sit down as a team for a couple of hours and pick out everything we didn't like, everything that we did wrong, we felt we could have done better, and things that we feel like we didn't think of or we can possibly improve on for the next tournament. But needless to say, there will be another tournament. We cannot give a time for it at the moment. Currently, just to put this out there, I'm thinking I'm leaning more towards the 1v1s than the 5v5s and the 20v20s. I'd actually be curious to get our first straw poll in the chat if Mod Tom H is up for it. We're going to straw poll for the PvP championship. Which fights did you enjoy watching more? Is it the 1v1s, the 5v5s, or the 20v20s? I'm willing to bet it's probably the 1v1s. So we're probably going to consider a couple different options there. So one option that we can consider is a few different styles. We can already see it in the chat. There you go. Yep. First option is one defense, no honor tri-birding. This is what many consider the most skillful form of PKing in the game. It essentially means that because you're one defense, if you do miss a prayer flick and somebody hits you through that prayer, you suffer. You can even die from it. Whereas with max main tri-birding, if you get the prayer wrong against his attack, you're likely going to still get hit as 0 because you have such strong gear on. So we can consider that. We can also add in something like the more common form of hybrid PKing that you find in the Wilderness or PvP worlds right now, which is tier 70 capped defense, just strictly hybrid PKing without overheads. So that typically consists of like 99 attack strength, but 70 defense, 99 everything else, and nothing really held back. But that is, again, no overheads and just hybriding. And then we can also consider, if we want a third option, what we did this past weekend, which was max main tri-birding, nothing really held back apart from the Elysian and like Ring of Suffering. So those are kind of the things that I'm playing with right now. We'll have much more for you after our retro tomorrow and probably for our next Q&A stream. But we are focusing more on the 1v1s. I think as far as the 5v5s and 20v20s go, we'd like to continue doing those, but potentially off stream, and then only having the finals on the PvP Championship live stream so that they don't have to take so much time and we don't need all of those players to wait for us for 8 hours. But yeah, there you have it. We've got the results. 83% of you said 1v1s. Yeah, that's a strong majority. Okay. That being said, I'm not going to bore you guys with that too much right now. Let's get back into the questions. So, Sony says, when is hard mode Inferno coming out?
I think it did in the first place.
Yeah, it's already hard. I've always joked around semi-seriously about maybe one day doing a hard mode and really just adding something with a few tweaks that just really takes it to the limit. Like
3 Zucks.
Yeah. Exactly.
4 Zucks, one on each
4
side.
Zucks, yeah.
Essentially,
or more.
What happened with this weekend is Bodhi was coming to the office to cast the tournament and compete for us. I spoke to, I believe, Mod Kieran and Mod Wolf and Mod Ed about the idea. I said, hey, just for fun, I don't know how long this takes, I'm not a dev, but could you throw more than 1 Jad into the second to last wave of the Inferno? Can we give Bodhi 4 Jads? And they said, actually, we can do more than that. So they did more than that. He attempted 4. He did okay. I think he got to the healers. I think
when he did the 4, he actually killed the first one and then died to 3.
Okay. And then he got to 6, and then just, yeah, that is a whole new level of just mean.
Luckily, I've written the code in the first place in a way that you could just essentially just pass a different number in and it would spawn more Jads for you. I saw the future coming.
But they don't attack in rotation, or they do, but it's not in a You know what I mean?
Yeah, they attack. So they don't attack in a clockwise fashion or anti-clockwise fashion like they do for the 3 Jads, because, hey, you can't... It does randomise, but that's the only 2 options. But if you randomise 6 Jads, it goes... Whoop, whoop, whoop,
Yeah, you have to learn the pattern.
And it's a bit crazy.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody could do that. I mean, saying that, obviously Wooks is probably sat there like, we don't know. I don't know. I mean...
I reckon someone would do it with enough attempts. The problem is you've got to get a wave 68 or something first. So.
We could just stick it in an arena where it spawns you a Jad and then gives you 2 Jads and 3 Jads and 4 Jads.
So you hope how people
and,
get.
Yeah.
Ooh, how many Jads can you get up to? I like that.
Bulwark, mate.
It might be a nice
Very
thing to do with a tournament world at some point, maybe.
Well, you know, speaking of which, we have Wooks as well as many of our other biggest content creators joining us for RuneFest, and we're going to have some PCs there. I know that a couple of RuneFests ago we had the Corp Beast there. That was fun. Perhaps we might have the ability to throw something like that in that. Let the players try it as well.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Can't promise.
I'm not making promises. That'd be cool. Okay. Yeah, realistically, I think that might be something really cool for a tournament world, but it's not actually coming to the game as an update.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
All right. Can you go more into depth with what Wilderness Wars is? Will it be coming to the public? So, for those unfamiliar, Wilderness Wars is the next event that we announced on our on our last day of the PvP Championship. Wilderness Wars is hosted at Insomnia 61. We have 5 streamers on the stage, each of them having their own armies. The streamers will act as kind of like bosses. They're going to be extremely strong. They can run through and stomp players, but of course, if they are taken down, their entire team loses. There's money on the line. I think we have a $15,000 prize pool, and we've also got a few other fun obstacles in the mix. So we've got a couple of bosses. I think Venenatus and Callisto will spawn at some point in the fight, and they'll drop whoever kills it resources. So potentially a weapon or a gear upgrade, or maybe some food or some potions. It's a ton of fun, but realistically, is it suited for like an old school update to everybody in the game?
It's pretty custom for an event, I feel.
That's what I think.
It'd be a very odd thing to go and do to the wilderness on a normal world anyway. I would be sorry to see that.
Yeah, so the way we're going to do it, so we have those 5 leaders, and we're going to give them a bunch of codes each to hand out to whoever they want to recruit. They'll have their army. They'll all jump in Discord with their army and give out commands to their team. It's going to be chaos, and I think it'll just be a good laugh to actually watch.
We're going to make it so that they're all in Discord with us, and they're going to have to be the shot caller. So they'll have to be calling the piles, and we'll be able to jump in for listen-ins with each team and listen to how well they're coordinating with their team, and hear them cry as they die to the player sat right next to them.
Yeah.
It'd be good fun.
Should be some interesting language, I'm sure.
Yeah. Also, for those asking, it is the same day as the Mayweather fight, but it's like 8 hours before it, so don't worry. All right?
That's I mean, why would that stop you from watching this?
Yeah.
This is clearly
obviously. All right. Pudge says, when will beta invites for old school mobile come out? I spoke to Mod Stone about this, and he said sometime after RuneFest. So it's as specific as I can get. XAlex says, can we get the ability to know when a rock is going to despawn through prospecting it? So he had an image where he prospected a runite ore, and it said, this ore will respawn in 4 minutes.
It would require changing how it's currently done, but it ain't impossible.
Especially if they're not randomised or anything based on the...
They're all the same now, so...
Yeah. It's not like it was when the respawn rate depended on who was logged into the world at the time.
Yeah.
So if we just changed how despawn doors worked, we could probably do it.
Oh, a lot of no's in the chat. That's very interesting. Can we straw pull this one?
I'm shocked at the no's. I mean, obviously, I think it only really applies to rune rocks, to be honest.
What about throwing a requirement, such as a diary or...
It could always make the answer you get more accurate depending on your mining level.
Maybe you need full
That's
prospectors.
an interesting idea.
Maybe
full prospectors.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
I was thinking the ones in the wilderness, making it something that you have to bring as a risk, but then we also have runite ores that aren't in the wilderness, so that does nothing. You know what you're straw pulling, Tom? All right, we'll get that in the chat momentarily. Superfire says, you mentioned there being another weapon which can be used at the Corp Beast without damage reduction. What weapon is this, and can you give us a hint? Okay, so either tell us or give us a hint.
Wasn't it Mod Rock looking into this?
I believe he found out that he was... I can't... Wait. Mod Wolf, do you remember?
I do remember. Mod Rock was looking through the script and...
A weapon that can damage the
Yeah, he said he'd seen another weapon.
It turns out that he read the script wrong and instead it was checking... It wasn't checking another weapon. Don't worry about it. There's your answer.
So we lied. Sorry, guys.
There's someone out there testing
Mod
every
Wolf was mic'd up for that. It was fake news.
Yeah, maybe he'd sat there at Cup with all these different... Like, maybe it's for flowers. Maybe they're what does it. No. Never mind.
He thought it was looking for the Zamorak Hasta as well as the spears, but it was actually saying not the Hasta. So there you go.
It was fake news, all right. We have the straw poll back. Should you be able to prospect rocks to check the time until they respawn, with or without a requirement? 55% say yes, 45% say no.
Well, that saves us a job.
That's very interesting because this had a lot of support on Reddit, but I mean, that's Reddit. Maybe that's not interesting. All right. Superfire. This is a tough question to word. Can you fix walking to a target using ranged when outside of max range? Currently, you walk your max range -1, which is kind of annoying. So I'm going to try to explain this.
Yeah.
Ash probably already understands it. So does Kieran. All right.
Does, yep.
Some of the chat might not.
So, it changes whether you're running or walking, I believe.
If I'm all the way over here, and I'm trying to hit something else, which is all the way over here, and I only am able to attack this thing from 10 tiles, but I'm currently stood at 12, it's going to run me to 9 tiles. So for whatever reason, instead of running me to 10, it's going to bring me up 1 closer than I should be, and then I'm in attack range. That make sense?
Yep, and anyone might have noticed this when they do Zuck on the Inferno as well.
Yeah. So why does it take you one tile closer than it needs to?
I wonder if we could hack around it in the middle of the combat script.
Might well be able to. But the core thing is, the core issue is engine side.
It's pathing, yeah. If we did fix this, does this make Zuck easier?
Yeah, not really. You just fix some BS steps, probably.
Okay. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Zuid says, can we fix some items which are seemingly heavier than they should be? The Angler set, Mauritania legs, and the Aram's robe skirt.
Yeah, I went and looked at the Mauritania legs and found that it wasn't that different from a whole lot of other leg armour that we already have in the game that people don't seem to find so objectionable. Obviously, it could be different. I mean, we just declare that whatever it was made of, it's now made of something different.
Lore.
Yeah, because Aram's goodness only knows what that's made out of. Well, it's made of Barrows, obviously, so it could be anything.
Somebody replied saying,
Somebody
replied and said, hang on, Aram's is a massive chainmail chain skirt thing. Like, it is chains in a skirt form. You cannot run very quick with those on.
And yet, you wouldn't expect it to, I don't know, Wicked always decided it's made of, I don't know, plastic or something.
Budget.
Anyway, we can change numbers,
Yeah.
although, given that the scale is between like 0 and I think 32 kilograms, and Anna in a barrel actually exists, and the barrel itself weighs about 16 kilograms, so that tells you something about Anna.
Her name is also Anna, by the way.
That's really not helping. So I wouldn't worry too much about the exact weight of the various doobies in the game.
I like that answer.
The
That's good.
fishing outfit, though, probably should come down.
Okay. Why was it so heavy, the fishing outfit?
Because it's heavy. It's a fishing outfit. It's covered in like hooks and stuff. That's as far as my logic goes. There ain't no scientific approach bits. There ain't no measurement. It's just like whack a number on there because judging how heavy you think it's going to be. But I mean, we're not exactly dealing with heavy.
I was waiting for that to happen.
We're not dealing with like realistic measurements here, are we? Because considering the caps.
I like to think this is the kind of garment you might wear for wading into the water up to your waist or thereabouts and fishing all day. And that's pretty heavy stuff compared to what you might wear if you were going to sit in a boat.
Not that heavy though.
You never actually do fish in a boat very much.
So Kieran,
We should
how
probably
do you
reduce it
pronounce
if it's-
hooks?
Hook.
Hook.
It's not hook. It's spelled H-O-O-K, not hook. Right? Regardless, regardless of the point in hand, I have happily changed the weight of this outfit to be a little bit lower, especially because you're going to be running around with an inventory load of fish.
So, if you were studying in Newcastle, I think it was,
Yeah.
and you were learning about, say, simple harmonic motion, would they refer to Hooke's law or Hooke's law?
Hooke's law.
Okay. Just wondering.
Captain Cook as well. From
Okay.
this is legit. This is.
It makes sense because when you think of wooks, it adds up, right? Otherwise, it's wooks.
Well, yeah, that would be silly. We wouldn't have wucks.
Yeah.
Wooks.
Okay, we're getting sidetracked.
No one says wooks.
I bet they will now.
We're going to get through a few more questions, then we're going to send things over for the sneak peek of the week. So, Cather Bay says, could the Narda altar also restore lowered stats? For higher requirement than pools from construction, Desert 4 Elite is still dead content.
Was that restore them or buff them?
Restore them if they're lowered.
Doesn't sound too bad. I mean, if you can go all the way there, then you can probably get hold of any potion you please. So,
Some lulls in the chat, that doesn't help at all. All right.
There's a yes.
One yes in the lulls, all right. Friend Chess Shoe, any thoughts on a ring of eternal wealth, similar to the Eternal Glory and Slayer ring?
You know what? As much as I like the Eternal Glory update, I regret it. Because that's why at least there's one question on every Q&A. Can we have an Eternal this? Can we have an Eternal this? And to be fair, I don't really mind, because I think it's pretty cool there's a feature, but I'd prefer to go down the route of what the Ring of Suffering did, providing a new high-tier piece of jewellery that can be charged with the lower tier version so that they don't go completely out of use. The glory is different because obviously it doesn't ever leave the game. It can be recharged in of itself.
Also, it requires risk to at least go and get it.
Ring of Wealth, of course, would fall into that as well. So maybe that's a bit of an exception. Well, we've had a bunch of requests for like Eternal Necklace of Binding and Rings of Dueling and things like that. And those I'd much rather go down the chargeable route.
Yeah, I think we could do Eternal for the other Dragonstone jewellery, but for the lower level ones, I prefer your method.
Yeah.
I actually did find a sort of black cat of eternal wealth in a shop once in real life. At least that's what it said it was. It said this is a lucky black cat. If you buy it, it's a very small ornament. You buy it, you put it in your wallet, and it guarantees your wallet will never be empty because it's got this stupid thing in it. I didn't buy one, but someone wanted £5 for that.
All right. ETA on release of updated Clue Scroll reward tables.
Anything
Updated Clue Scroll reward tables.
Release of updated Clue Scroll reward tables.
You mean they want the actual...
I think they'd like an updated infographic because the one that was made was quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think Ronan
Because we
started
did
making
it
one
once
4
and it
months
was
ago.
so nice, and then, yeah.
Rip Ronan.
There is no update on that. Okay. Once God. Thoughts on adding a new level 75 trophy room in the player-owned house? This would appeal to the completionist playstyle, allowing for storage and tracking of several notable completionist/collectionist items. Possible hotspots could include a more detailed adventures log for tracking completionist stuff, a mounted head display that works like a jar display, and perhaps mounted gear displays.
It almost feels like it wants to be the achievement gallery with a lot more stuff in it.
Yeah.
Which, since you're already restricted to one of those per house, if I recall correctly, pretty sure you are, we could do more stuff, more custom things in it than other rooms would support.
Okay. Should we throw things over to the sneak peek, or do you want one more question?
I certainly don't like the idea that we'd have a room that's got quite a lot of information in it and a separate room that's got more information in it. It's just, we shouldn't really have bothered in the first place.
All right. Just remembered something actually in regards to Wilderness Wars. So the 5 players that are playing on stage, we're giving them 49 codes each because they would make the 50th. And if you are lucky enough to be one of the 49 people on a team listening to the stream, you should find a new NPC just south of Edgeville Bank on Thursday, I believe, who you'll be able to give your code to, and he will allow you to join the correct team. So we'll have more news on that soon, but just to let you guys know. Okay, Slay Masters. Will the Mauritania Diaries with the Slayer experience boost from 2.5 to 10% apply to the Gargoyle boss at the roof of the tower?
I imagine so.
By pretty much any definition, it's in the Slayer Tower, and well, it's kind of on the Slayer Tower, but
So if we're going by
close enough to in.
ambiguous logic, yeah.
Certainly, it'd be rather sad if it didn't count.
Yeah, it'll count.
Gonna grab some questions from the chat, I think. It says, can we have the option to turn off tooltips for things such as prayers? Mod Tom H has said, it's already been done, hopefully released next week. When you say next week, you don't mean tomorrow, you mean the next week. Okay, the next week. Speaking of which, you tweeted a picture of the special attack tooltips, or whatever you want to call them today?
Yes.
So, for those who don't know, Mod Tom H tweeted out this picture where if you hover over your special attack bar, it will give you a tiny little infographic telling you what the special attack does. I believe Mod Wolf will be showing you more of it in a minute or two here.
Is it in RC, Tom? No, that's
Never mind, he won't be. Okay, anyways, that's next week. The question I think everybody was replying with was, will this be toggleable?
Which is probably why he started putting toggles on
It will
those
be?
tooltips.
Oh, fantastic. There you go.
He-
So if
he
you don't
did a
want to know
further
what the
tweet.
special does, or you already know, don't worry about it.
Yeah, he did a further tweet of the picture of the advanced options menu with a new button in there for turning off tooltips.
All right, guys. We're ready for the sneak peek of the week. Let's throw things over to Mod Wolf.
Hello, you alright? How you doing? Welcome to the sneak peek of the week. I think it's the fourth one. Fourth one. I think it's fourth. As usual, we're going to start off with some of the smaller updates and show you some of the larger ones near to the end. So, first of all, the wizard inside of the Magic Guild, not Wizards Guild, now has a battle staff, just so you know, help you distinguish which one you need to click on to be able to buy your battle staves. People are finding it difficult to find the one that you don't attack, so that's pretty useful. On top of that, you can now, when you check your toxic blowpipe, see exactly how many scales you have, as well as the percentage, which should also help. And then let's just go straight into the really exciting stuff that Mod Tom H has been working on. I commendation to him for this. First of all, the bolt pouch can now hold up to 10,000 of any bolt. I believe previously that was 255. 10,000 is now the maximum limit, which is huge. So good job, Mod Tom H. And then on top of that, the Magic Combat Tutor and the Ranged Combat Tutor now have the ability to toggle when you automatically pick up runes and ammo to be put inside of your ammo slot, or for your runes back into your rune pouch. So send to the rune pouch, there you go. And if I talk to the Ranged Tutor and say, can you toggle my ammo to equip? Certainly, automatically equip. There we go. So, if I, for example, kill something that drops these death runes, inside of my inventory here, I have 15,000, inside of my rune pouch, sorry, I have 15,999. If I pick it up, I forgot I need room inside of my pouch. That is usually helpful. So, scuffed, give death rune. Give death rune, let's give 3. And I'll drop that on the floor. And if I pick that up from a creature, it should, theoretically, there you go. It goes straight inside the rune pouch, which is brilliant. I just killed something and dropped one of my diamond bolts, which I have equipped. I have 5,003 there. If I pick this up, it should. Yes, I did toggle it. Can you toggle my ammo? Certainly. Automatically equip it. Let's do that again. It's fine. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that. 5,003. If I pick it up, it's not 5,004. We'll make sure that that's fixed by tomorrow. I'm going to be having words with Mod Rock about that one. But don't worry about it. Let's see if it works with the blowpipe. I definitely toggled that on. So let's go on over to a sheep. I really hope that this one works, because that's going to be awkwardly embarrassing, isn't it? There's a ram. Let's kill this ram and hope that when I pick this up, it goes inside of my blowpipe. It does. It does go inside the blowpipe. So the blowpipe works. That's always excellent. I think it might be getting confused with the fact that I have my bolt pouch already. So if I try attacking something with these onyx bolts, they should automatically go inside of the rune it should automatically go inside the pouch. Let's try this. Let's have a look. 5,000 inside my pouch. Maybe it's just prioritizing the pouch over my actual inventory. It broke. That's a waste of 9k. Rip. There we go. So 8. See, that one is going inside. How very confusing. I don't know why that's happening. We'll investigate that for tomorrow. But as you can see, it is working. So I'm going to patch you back, and then I'm going to investigate that bug. So thanks a lot for the sneak peek of the week.
Hey.
It was all right.
That was entertaining.
I love the accidental attack of the NPC that turned into intentional.
Totally intentional. I'm going to investigate that.
Okay, we're still gathering questions from the chat, guys, just at RuneScape, if you have a question. Where are we at here? Quick says, thoughts on adding a minigame cape awarded to people who have unlocked minigame every item, or every item in a minigame, I think.
Every item. Wow.
Full elite void, mace, full penance, all castwares, decorative armor, etc. That's going to take a long time.
Oh, good lord. This is all the trouble brewing kit.
This would be a good alternative to adding a completionist cape, as requirements wouldn't need updating with every quality of life update. Somebody count the hours required to get this cape.
The thing is, you can get the decorative armor, then sell it again, and just get your tokens back.
A lot of these things aren't unlocked,
No.
like you say, especially trouble brewing. If it was like, if ticking it off was like, you must equip one of these items once, and now you've unlocked that item, and you can get rid of the item again, which might give you some tickets back in some cases, then you could at least show you'd had them all. But again, you might have got the same tickets over and over again for the minigames that give partial refunds.
Yeah.
Iffy, this one. It's a shame. I mean, I like the idea that you've worn it all and presented yourself and shown that you've done it, but it wouldn't. It's not like they don't count as achievements in the way that things usually do, like completing a quest.
Okay. Utama says, can we see all the bags, herb bag, gem bag, etc., become consistent in terms of options and interface? In terms of interface, or showing what they are storing, currently the gem bag displays it in a separate chat box interface. The herb bag renders text into the chat box, and the looting bag actually shows you the items and net worth. Perhaps the former two can be changed to show the actual items and amount in the bag.
So that would mean they'd probably need custom interfaces, which is, I think, why it wasn't done in the first place, especially as a whole custom interface for a gem bag to only handle a few items. Felt like massive overkill.
Yeah, the looting bag has to display a custom inventory.
Yes, it's well, and it happens to be the same size and shape as your standard inventory, so 28 worked out very nicely for us. Do that with a gem sack, but it'll just be sat in the corner, which they might be okay with. And then there's a herb thing. I forget exactly what we can end up with in there, but it may not fit.
Pretty much any kind of herb, I think.
Okay, so that shouldn't be too bad then, because there's not that many variants of herb, since we never put the alternate form of them in. Yeah, we could do that. It's not what you call a small job, what with being more interfaces, and those are never a quick thing to knock out, sadly, as Tom was learning today when working on those little toggle buttons. But what you ask is possible. The ops, on the other hand, that's a lot more feasible, because you can just shuffle them around and edit the code to match, and you don't have to sit down and design a whole new interface for it every time.
All right. You've made the chat too small to read now.
Oh.
There we are. Modwolf is gathering questions from the chat now. I think I saw one asking about the leather shields, saying when is it coming out, or when are they coming out?
Well, they need to blog first and then also to be polled, so it's going to be quite a while.
Okay. Speaking of the leather shields, we have a sneak peek. When do you want to do that?
I can just show the graphic and just talk over it.
Oh, okay. Do we have the graphic for the leather shields?
Yeah.
Let's get that thrown up on the screen, and you can tell us what these things do. Oh boy.
Right. So I posted a picture of this on my Twitter last week. It's just a tap project I've been working on in my in my tap time, and I got a lot of feedback. If you look at the stats and all that, I've done a few changes. The main things that came up with the deflection level for the redwood shield was a bit too high, So I've lowered that by 5. So if you boost, you'll probably be able to do that at around 87, which is a bit better than 92, which is like halfway to 99. And I've also lowered the offensive stats. So because people were a bit concerned, it was the same. The best one was the same offensive stats for range as the Zamorak book. So I've lowered that down to 7, as well as lowered a few of the magic defenses down. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And this will be done through fletching and crafting.
So yeah, how would you actually go about making them then?
So you need 2 logs and 2 hides, and yeah, you do what you usually do: fletch it with a knife into just a basic wooden shield, well, a basic willow shield or maple shield, and then you attach the leather with 15 nails of ascending tiers. So the best one would require 15 rune nails, 2 black dragon hides, and
you found a use for nails.
2 redwoods. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what stats do the shields have themselves? Like, if you equip just the redwood shield, can you equip just the redwood shield, or do you have to make the DI?
You can just equip the redwood shield, but it's just going to be like the wooden shield. It's just going to have
just basic
some minor defenses, essentially.
I like that.
So essentially, going to get the most from attaching the Dragonhide and the nails.
So these shields will cost less than like an Armadillo book, for example?
Yeah, well, they're based on the resources.
Right.
But
there's nothing, no hidden cost there?
No.
Okay.
People have suggested it. A few people have suggested maybe a special type of leather, which is also what Mod Wolf suggested I do when I was signing it in my initial tap time. So you'd have to get this like sort of special bit of leather from a dragon. It'd be quite a rare drop, and that is a way of making it a bit more expensive. But I figured it sort of goes against what the other parts of Dragonhide armor are like. But if that's more of a concern, I can look into it.
Okay, cool.
I like how you designed the infographic about it.
Looks
Kelly's an artist.
All right, so I guess when are we looking to get a dev blog out for this?
I don't know when the next one is. Probably the next few weeks.
Okay.
Talk to Mod
You'll have a
Suite.
bit more time once you've cleared Fossil Island.
Yeah, for sure.
And are you looking to make any further changes? Are you pleased with it? Are you looking to gather some feedback through Twitter, or?
It's just any sort of feedback would be great.
Okay.
I've just gone through quite a few changes already. I think it's getting close to finished, and the content's almost done. It just needs to be QA'd.
Okay.
First attempt.
Just to clarify, you can't put black leather on like an orc shield or anything.
No. Yeah, the leather is dependent on the wood type. So black dragonhide has to go on redwood. And I think willow is snakeskin, and then it goes up from there. So maples, green dragonhide, etc.
It feels like proper old school content, and adds a couple of nice expansions to do skills.
And the use for nails.
Yeah, nails.
It's pretty good. It feels
a
like
good
a
use.
bunch of gaps.
I was working on the Make All update I've been working on. I got through the thing with making brutal arrows today, and realised I haven't seen code involving nails in a very, very long time. No one's probably ever going to use it again.
Maybe we need like a big Zoga boss or something.
Bodhi died on his hardcore Ironman?
What? Spoilers?
Somebody
Really?
confirm. There's no way. Chat's going nuts.
He's doing SAR already, so it's not impossible.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous. All right, well, we have questions to get through. Let's grab one from the chat, actually. Vitor says, key halves in gem bag, please. Are key halves a gem?
Can you?
No, they're not. I mean, I can understand where he's coming from, because they're sort of on the same drop table, but it feels a little weird.
Oh, they trolled us.
Yeah, it's
You were the one who fell for it. You were the one who announced
the red.
I can't believe you guys fell for that.
Well, they've been talking about it since we started the stream. I just figured we would ignore it because it was
Oh, I
likely to be
didn't
a
see
troll.
it.
we could disconnect it and make it true if you really tried.
No.
If Bodhi DCs, it was Mod Wolf.
No. Don't say that.
All right. Where are we here? Wiz says, will you be able to buy membership through the App Store when Old School Mobile comes out? I spoke to Mod John C, and he said that is the plan, and bonds as well. Very exciting. Fish says, with all the hype around PvPing at the moment, will we soon see another PVM Cup hosted? Can't say I understand the logic there. PvP obviously hasn't had very much attention, whereas PVM has had, well, plenty. But I do definitely think there's potential to consider something in regards to competitive PVM. I think the idea we even had earlier is just like a really cool idea. It's going to be quite different to, 1v1 style going at it head to head, whereas something more like, I'm not really sure, perhaps competitive speedruns for like a raid dungeon if it was the same for every team, or
I haven't designed
Or have-
PVM competitive content.
Modwolf has a design for a PVM tournament. I'm yet to hear this. All right, that's exciting.
I'm wondering what it would be like if there was more than one player in the arena where it kept spawning more and more Jads every time you completed a wave. And I mean, the phrase, if we were giving a cup for that, we'd probably end up calling it 2 Jads, 1 cup or something of the sort.
Jesus Christ.
That aside,
Chris doesn't know how to react to this.
I think I broke Chris.
I think you've broken the chat.
Why is 2 Jads, 1 cup very funny, guys?
I think it was just unexpected.
Ask your mum.
As far as competitive PVM goes, I'm having a hard time thinking of anything apart from just adding like the speed element to it. So seeing how fast a team could kill this, or how fast an individual could kill Zuck, for example. But I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say. We'll definitely be checking Reddit after this to see if anybody has anything else, and I'll speak to Modwolf about his idea.
Anything
Anyways.
from the chats? No, apparently not.
But am I saying Zuck wrong? How do you say it?
He says Zook.
I'm not saying
I
that.
don't. I say Zuck because it's a U and not 2 O's.
Okay.
Okay. Jared says, can we get a free-to-play PvP Worlds poll in-game from the massive success over the Twitter poll? There was a lot of support for this. Can we fit this in the next poll?
If we did, it would be, I think, offering to take away an existing world or two to put this on. If, on the other hand, we didn't try and do it right now, then maybe we could get some new worlds and it wouldn't have to take away from the existing ones. And taking away from the existing ones is the kind of thing that players often object to.
Right.
I mean, they might feel they've got enough at the moment and they can spare a couple.
Which world would we be looking to take? A free-to-play world or a members world? The maxed, whatever the highest total requirement members world is. Shame.
And they say I'm savage.
Genuine question though, would we be taking a free-to-play world for this?
I instinctively I'd keep it in the same status that it was about to become, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know how many free players we have in the chat, but
Given that we don't have any in the polls, I'm not sure what the poll would do either.
very true. All right. Speaking of free to play, actually not free to play, but Sal says, "Will we ever see another low-level free to play boss?" That was about free to play. There you go. Another what did we call the hill giant? Obor.
Obor. Did they know about the other giants that were being designed for somebody's tap project?
Don't believe so.
They do
Might
now.
have been mentioned, I don't know. I can't
But they ain't
remember.
free to play, are they?
No, I think he wanted them to be members.
How picky was he about that?
I don't know.
I seem to recall that at least a couple of them were in free-to-play areas, so
You can get
it
ice
wouldn't-
giants in
it
free-to-play.
It wouldn't be impossible to. So yeah,
And
we could
lots-
make one of them free-to-play and the
Yeah.
others members.
The context of this is that one of our colleagues not in the old school team thought that it'd be rather fun for his tap project, since he's very fond of old school, to design and try and implement some old school content. With the slight challenge for him that he's not one of our content devs or QA, so he's having to learn the language as he goes along, which is pretty cool. He just likes old school a lot and wants to add stuff to it. I'm sure you get the idea.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it'd be cool.
that's
There
exciting.
was also, I don't know if this would be a free-to-play boss, but there was the Chaos Dwarf Mammoth boss idea. That looked pretty cool.
yeah.
A Chaos Dwarf Mammoth.
Well, it was Chaos Dwarf riding a mammoth.
It's not half Chaos Dwarf, half Mammoth.
I
mean-
like this,
Yeah.
especially if it casts spells from up there.
Mounts, I don't know.
Well, we've got those kind of gnomes on a tortoise when you're on
Yeah.
the battlefield. And they're not too picky who they attack once you killed your tortoise either, so you can suddenly find yourself under attack from a tiny little gnome.
You don't
They're
want
quite
mounts.
odd, actually. If you kill the tortoise, they can sometimes just despawn. After, like, I don't know, you kind of walk away for a second and then they're just gone.
I don't know exactly what the developer was trying to do there, but they can also be left in a mode where they just wander around being aggressive until they find somebody to do it. So
Yes, as well.
What about like
Weird NPCs.
I can guess how he might have implemented that, which is not necessarily how we choose to do it today, but it's not been a pressing issue.
like Giant Mole being free to play, or King Black Dragon?
Ooh.
Some of
They'll
those.
get lots of seeds. They'll have to get something else, yeah.
They'd have to get something else, yeah. I mean, King Black Dragon maybe less. So there's a good desire to kill that because of Slayer.
Interesting. Bodhi killed foe.
People are not keen on it, so.
Interesting. Bodhi killed foes. Hardcore Ironman.
Oh, wow.
Who would have thought?
Is this
Guys,
more reliable than
guys.
the last thing they told us?
We already fell for it once. We ain't stupid. We're going to fall for it twice, okay?
Yeah,
died,
Kieran's
we wouldn't
not going to
believe.
fall for it again. All right, Torvesta says implement PvP KD.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah? Yeah, nice.
Yep.
All right. Gim says, would it be possible to get Barrows Brothers as a Slayer task?
Yes, it is. They're a boss.
Yeah.
You can get them as a boss later.
There you go. Yeah. Come on. Rob says, can we get more default boot colors?
Engine job.
Yeah, I saw this. Yeah.
So odd that that's an engine job. We have an artist right here.
Yes, drawing the colour is probably not the challenging bit.
Yeah.
I
I
got
can
it.
show you all the colours. So I shouldn't do anything with them.
See,
All of them.
back in the oldest
Well,
days,
actually,
Andrew
as many as
didn't have.
the engine will let me.
He had a lot of stuff he was trying to make available for content devs to change, but the list of boot colours was kind of not on it. So the engine came with a list of about 6 or so that he'd enabled. He figured that would probably do for now. And yeah, it would need one of that team to go back and plug in a few more. The amount of data space allocated for it also depends how much they can have. So they'd probably be allowed up to 8 varieties at least, maybe up to 16, maybe 32. Don't know how much space they've got allocated for at the moment, but if they hit that, then they have to redefine how much space the game's allocating for each bit of information about all the players. And that's not something they do lightly, because it's a lot of information about all the players on your screen at once. So hopefully, I mean, if there's, what, 6 at the moment, then there must be at least 2 more slots going. That's just my guess, though.
Okay. Also, sorry, I wasn't looking rude right there. I was just asking Mod Stone about an image that we were hoping to have for the end of the stream. I think it'd be very exciting if we can get it. I don't know if Mod Stone's watching the stream or if somebody wants to tweet him, but if we can get that image for the end of the stream, I'll be very happy.
I'm wondering about this image now.
Yeah.
Whether it's like Keith's top Jads.
Oh, it's a good image. Yeah. Okay. Phony says, are you able to pull PvP updates specifically to PvP players?
How do we define a PvP player?
That's the challenging thing.
Bounty Hunter goes without saying. You go by, well, if they've done Bounty Hunter, but PvP worlds, that's not really something that we can distinguish, is it?
We can track metrics. However, if a metric is being tracked, then the players can go and buff that particular metric.
Right. You can't just bring your friend into the PvP worlds and kill him 100 times and say you are now a PvPer.
Well, if we were counting kills, then yeah, they almost certainly could.
Right.
We'd have to be able to count kills of, you know, not that. And if they found that if they kill, you know, after they kill 10 people, it forgets who the last 10 people were, and they can go back to killing their first mate, then all they need is, you know, 11 outs.
But you'd think that would hopefully be enough of a blocker that
Yeah, it was certainly
not
slow
that many
down.
people are going to change the outcome of a vote compared to no restriction.
As far as quality of life updates for PvPers to make just things easier on them, we are working on getting a couple of things out to help fight ragging, actually. I mentioned to Mod Kieran if he'd be able to help remove banners from PvP worlds. So banners are just these massive things that just, if you walk on a fight, you can't really see the fight anymore. So having those disabled in PvP areas would be nice. Also, there's a problem with Varrock. I think specifically only Varrock this problem currently occurs. So if you actually teleport in the game, you can't take any damage while you're obviously being attacked, because damage doesn't follow through the animation. So if I wanted to, I could hit Kieran, then teleport, and you'd be fighting back. But as I'm teleporting and hitting you, I'm not taking any damage. So we're working on getting a fix for that as well.
It would affect any teleport. It's just Varrock is a spot that people PK at.
Yes, Camelot used to have people hanging around there and teleporting constantly and avoiding ever taking damage. To avoid that being an issue on, you know, Deadman finales, there's some extra code in the teleport scripts to try and help with that sort of situation.
Okay. If there are any other kind of like, I don't know, outlasting ideas or things that kind of fall that nature, then let us know. Bop has a suggestion. There's an image for this one, I think, if we can get this one up on the screen. It says, drop party, in player-owned house. There it is.
That's cool. Why? What difference is this to just the valid or party room?
No, you can invite only people that you want. It's private.
Oh, right, it's private.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
VIP only.
I like how there's a bookcase in there.
For parties, you need a good couple of books.
Curious party.
A lot of yeses in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, it's been on the list of ideas for quite a long time.
Oh.
I mean, of all the things we could ever be doing, extra places to have a drop party didn't seem the most urgent thing, especially as Falador Party Room is frequently dead. But
very true.
I do like the idea, and now that ever since that infrastructure rewrite I did on construction a year ago, we can do more with it than we could have done at the time.
I want to know what you'd use to build that fancy floor.
Redwood, it needs a use and lots of nails.
Circles.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be a nice pan.
Toucan says, can it be made so that you cannot click on another player's box traps or cannons? They're often placed on top of loot in PvP.
I'm afraid that's not something we can currently control.
Right?
That's why we try to discourage putting them in places like that. Cannons got restricted in some PvP situations. It wasn't because the cannon did any damage, it was because the cannon was just sat there being in the way. So by blocking them in particular areas, we can try and ameliorate some of that.
All right, that works. Nice. Where are we going to here? Madkill says, can it be made so that Larupia and other hunter gear gives an invisible hunter boost?
Very easily, if we were happy with a global XP boost. For no particular effort other than wearing some costume that you can very easily get.
Next question.
Maybe a buff if you're not wearing it. A debuff if you're not wearing it.
Strictly speaking, if we uncomment out, if we tweak some line in the middle of the hunter code, what you'll get is a small buff for wearing it and a big debuff for not wearing it but standing near the trap. Because hunter was always meant to check to see if you were standing within line of sight. And if you're out of sight and wearing camo, you'd get the full rate. And that never worked from the launch of the hunter skill because somebody broke it during a change to the language before the hunter skill came out, and it wasn't noticed. Got launched like that because hunter had already been tested apparently. So camo never worked, and we didn't know for quite a long time. But early in the old school game in 2013, we polled should we make it work, because XP rates weren't seen as quite such a sensitive thing back in 2013 as they maybe are today. It passed, so we launched it, and what people found was, yes, they've got the buff for it working. They've got the big debuff as well for standing near a trap. Now, we decided we wouldn't change the hunting meta so that you had to stand a long way from your trap in order to get a decent rate, because we just didn't feel that was what players were expecting to have done, even if it would technically be restoring it to what the developer intended in the first place. It had never been like that. We decided we'd leave the damn thing alone.
Fair enough.
I think I wouldn't mind doing the invisible boost with checks for which area you're in, so it sort of still applies like the way camo was intended to. So if you're wearing a Larupia in, I believe Feldip Hills was where that one's meant to use, like we would check for specifically this region of the map. You need Larupia to get this +3 invisible boost, or you need.
I think that is what the code's already trying to do. It just discards the bonus when it's calculated it. It would, I think, therefore be a global XP boost to anyone who could be bothered to get hold of that piece of kit which does not degrade. Maybe if the kit did degrade over while you were getting the boost, then
It's
that
so
would be less
cheap
of a
as
thing.
well, isn't it? So.
Might make it even worth having if it degraded.
I did have an idea to add a new one, but a new set outfit.
Okay. Let's grab this one from the chat. J.Mar Rand says, can we do something about deep wilderness targets in World 18? They're 4 out of 5 targets, and getting a 5-minute penalty isn't fair. I think we were in brief conversation about this.
I would love to get this fixed.
I would also love to see this.
Well, we did poll something. Unsurprising, it didn't pass.
Yeah.
If we do something that's... And what we polled actually wasn't the preferred solution anyway, players have said. So doing something different wouldn't actually violate the poll anyway.
Would we be able to offer it with a toggle, or would we just do it?
One of the reasons we didn't go with the toggle before is that we figured the number of people who'd be opted in for deep targets was unlikely to be very high.
Only those other people doing the same thing.
There wouldn't be that many of them, certainly, so the number of targets you could pick from would be quite limited. We thought it'd be safer if we didn't try to offer that option because the option would not work very reliably. Nevertheless, players are always happy to say, no, we want the toggle, it's our choice, so we could just let them have that problem.
I'd absolutely love to see that. I think
So
it's a great
to me,
addition
this is
here.
the perfect example of something that just affects PvPers. If you don't play Bounty Hunter, this doesn't make a single difference to you. And ideally, this is the sort of poll question we would just poll to PvPers.
Agree entirely.
The other thing we could do is just adjust the penalty so that if the target was in deep wilderness, there isn't one.
Yeah, that's a good.
Or
That's
it's negligible. Like I said, what we offered in the poll that failed was not necessarily the right solution anyway.
Right. Okay, nice. Let's give one to Ed, because we haven't heard from Ed yet. Seven says, can we have a counter that shows how much of your friend and ignore list you've used?
Maybe.
This is your chance!
I've seen lots of questions in the chat for Ed. They're mostly, are you boaty?
Did you
Yes,
die?
and that's why I died. I was here rather than playing on the hardcore.
One AFK for the stream. Oh, this isn't a question. This is something
We didn't get an answer.
We
I want a yes or no.
got a clear answer.
It was maybe.
If the community wants it.
I wanted to point out that I made a mistake on the PvP Championship stream. I wanted to correct myself. I commonly mistake a tick for being a sixth of a second instead of 0.6 of a second. And I get roasted for this so hard. Who could have thought I would make such an amateur mistake? Unbelievable.
And someone sent that in as a question for today's Q&A.
Well, no, they just kind of yelled at me, but I was like, all right. Just says, can we get a way to check how many charges our Falador shield has left? In some scenarios, it's worth it to bring the shield with 2 charges, but not if it only has 1 charge, or even worse, when it has no charges.
How many options has it currently got?
More than 2?
Well, if there's a spare slot, then sure, we can add an extra option. If there isn't, then we probably shouldn't.
It might only be doable on the worn version.
If the thing's already equipped, then fine. Although if the player's loading up their gear in the bank, then they'll find that inconvenient.
Okay.
Don't know.
Next question. Monkfish says, can the world switcher show ping?
The engine team told me once about how that wasn't as straightforward as it might sound. I don't claim to recall what they said or understand it, and I really don't see why that would be the case. But the guy who was telling me is not someone who just would make up, gibberish for the sake of it. So while I don't know the problem with it, don't expect it to suddenly turn up, I'm afraid.
Okay, that's fair. Johnny says, can we get a repoll of loot share? This failed the old school content poll number 40 at 69.7%. To make this more fair, so we also don't have teams of 4 people crashing solo players, it can be made so that one of the people in the team of 4 still have to do the most damage for the team to activate loot share.
So the player who does the most damage, their team would share the loot, rather than tracking which team did the most damage.
Yeah. Is what he's proposing.
We would be able to do that. Whether it would make the difference is, well, remains to be seen.
I don't seem convinced.
Yeah, plenty of no's. I'm not seeing many reasons. Not that I could read it because there's spam, but I'd like to hear
I'm
some
sure it was
reasons.
polled more than once anyway.
I think a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be
So
interested.
it's more than
in
just that one poll.
The thing is, players had a really nice idea in mind for how they'd like loot share to work at the time, involving items being held to be sold on the Grand Exchange as soon as possible, and the wealth being distributed from that whenever the sale completed, even if that was like 2 days later or something, which might sound great. Unfortunately, it's not something we could offer, and frankly, I don't think it's something we'd ever be able to offer if it had to cope with potentially infinite pending Grand Exchange offers to track for the rest of eternity. So, since players were quite disappointed by the version that was being polled and how it wasn't the awesome one that had been conceived of, they might have been a bit less inclined to vote for the one they could have had.
Okay. Dio says, why don't Ironman get their own instanced shops? We're supposed to stand alone, but are grouped with other players' shops.
Because we can't actually do instance shops. That feature came to the game I forget exactly when, but it was well after 2007, so I'm afraid we haven't got it.
Can you add the remaining champions, Abbey Spectres, Banshees, and Mummies, to the Champions Challenge before adding the cape?
Is there much value in doing it?
Yeah, you'd have a 500 Slayer XP.
But it's a bit about before the cape that seems a little arbitrary, because what we pulled there was a fairly small job, making the cape available, not cake.
If we do add more champions, we'll probably take your cape off you.
Yeah, so this wouldn't be a sticking point anyway.
Speaking of champions, Jen says, could the new champion scroll reward cape be updated to look better?
I don't know what it currently looks like.
It's like
the
blue.
blue one with the lions on the back.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
like-
Well, I think that's the one we pulled.
Do you know
out.
what? Do you recall the really old god capes? And the Sarah cape was very similar. It was blue and it had those frills that like rippled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was so cool. Sorry. Okay. I was just having some crazy nostalgia. Do you think you could make the cape look any better?
I
Or?
thought the point of it was that that's the cape, the great
Yeah,
champion
maybe.
of
They
champions.
asked for that guy's cape. We offered them that guy's cape, and that's what I'd expect to deliver, rather than
Yeah, same.
our new reimagining of that guy's
I did
cape.
like. There was one suggestion that suggests that like the more champions you defeat, the more tatty it gets. But
Yeah.
how possible that is.
Well, you just make a different version of it for everyone and keep switching which version they've got when they click on it based on how many champions they've killed.
Yeah.
So it would be possible you might just be drawing capes for a little while.
Yeah, that's true. I do like making capes though.
What it could have is more lions on the back based on how many champions you've killed or something.
I think we'd run out of space.
I guess.
Well, how many champions is there?
I should know because I put them on the achievement gallery. It was in the region of 10, wasn't it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Ah, yes.
I remember getting the stats of all the amount of champions that people have killed. It was quite interesting though.
Clutch says, suggestion, untradeable bond as a reward for completing Dragon Slayer.
I believe we looked into this and the numbers behind it. I can't remember what the outcome was. But research has been done on it because we like the sound of the idea, but this is one of those things that affects business revenue, and if we make the wrong call and all of a sudden people are taking free membership and then are less likely to sign up afterwards, obviously we affect the number of members coming in.
One of the things that was pointed out was that it would have to be restricted so that if you had been a member before and decided to unsubscribe briefly just to get it, that would not be great for our revenue because, well, we don't really want to give that out for free, sorry.
It would have to affect new accounts only, essentially.
And there's some debate as to whether it had to be new kind of bonds to be able to make this work with the billing systems. I'm not sure any of us would be able to answer that one off the top of our heads.
A lot of no's in the chat, but then somebody said, what if it only gave 2 days of membership? That seems, I don't know, maybe something more we can consider.
Well, that was part of the suggestion, that it be a special kind of bond and it not give two whole weeks worth.
Interesting. Okay. Anyways. Coke says, when will we have the ability to hide our RuneScape name when logging in? And can this display a random amount of characters?
We are getting the feature, but it's not going to display a random number of characters, I believe.
Yeah, that seems a bit overkill.
Okay. That's fair.
Sure, it'd be confusing if you had more than one account.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also going to come with the ability to remember your username as well.
Oh, that's nice.
Mark
Hex.
Atlas has been tweeting about this if anyone wants to go look at his tweets. Is it at Jagex?
At Jagex Titan.
Oh, he's changed it, right.
All right, next question. Hex says, can we get an in-game message after killing somebody in PvP that tells us how valuable the kill was? So I go by Hilux value, I guess. Or G value, rather.
The items being transferred are never kind of all held together in one place en route. They're sent over in instalments from each place where you might have them in Warn and looting bag, etc. Makes it rather harder to calculate the whole value because they're all separate. I think we've got something that will just give us the numbers and let us add them up manually, though. But it gets pretty awkward when there's strange things in there, like, you know, a trident that emits a whole load of scales when you add separate items, or items that turn into another kind of item, or the ones that turn into piles of coins. Yeah, we can get, obviously we can count the coins, but they're doing it somewhere separate, and it does not make it convenient to tie it in this kind of total tracker.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, we've come to the end of the Q&A. It's time to throw up the very mysterious image I told you guys I was so excited about.
Oh, yeah.
You ready? 3, 2, 1. Hey, this is the Wilderness Wars image. This is the event we're hosting at Insomnia on August 26th with the 5 streamers you can see on the screen here. This is their spawn locations and the final area. So as we can see here, we've got the 5 of them spread across a nice little format. I don't believe we've mapped down the 2 bosses that will be spawning in the middle of this fight, but you can probably have a pretty good idea of where the 2 bosses might spawn. At least I don't think it's on there. Anyways. But yeah, so these streamers will have to decide with their 49 teammates which path they'd like to take to the final area, whether they're going to be taking on a different team on the way there, or if they're going to just run straight there, or what they're going to do, but quite exciting. So yeah, I was excited for that image. Okay. That being said, guys, that about concludes today's Q&A. In short, we'll have a better summary of the PvP Championship for next week, and we've got some great updates coming out tomorrow, and I believe Make All is somewhere around the corner.
It's going on quite well. Most of the generic things in the game have now been updated to use the new system with Make All in it, which still leaves, well, some of them haven't been done yet. And then there's all the ones that use custom interfaces, which will need to be handled specially.
Sounds fun.
But it'll get there. Just, I'm not promising a date for it, I'm afraid, because if I did, I might be wrong, and then you'd be disappointed.
Okay. That being said, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.